because that's what the rules were. Oh, hell not. See, that's the thing. Is like, see, that mindset is a toxic mindset. You have to be able to establish what the what's fair. And whenever, so you did willingly give it away? I willingly gave the mount away, even though I received it on my first kill. But I should never have had the option to have it. They should have never given it to me. Are you all about Master Looter? I would probably do Master Looter like 5% of the time. All the rest of the time I'd use personal loot and stack the raid with people that had the same armor type so they could trade me more gear. So we're gonna have everyone but loot council passes and they just auto invite, give loot one guy. Yeah, I think so. I think that group loot means master loot to them. I think that like Ian is like using the word group loot and he's just kind of using it interchangeably with master loot. Can't function if everyone's for their health selves 100%. Yeah, it's like you have to know, like, whenever you're in a raid, right? You have to know whenever it's time to like think, whenever it's time to be out for yourself and whenever it's time to not be out for yourself. Because you're right, like a lot of times people can sabotage themselves by being selfish. It's like killing the goose that laid golden eggs. No, it's considered sensitive in corporations now. If there's a person that has a problem with the word master, that person needs to go to therapy. In my mind, I do literally no, I take no effort and no time to coddle people who are unreasonable. As I said before, if you pander and you cater to people that are unreasonable, you too become unreasonable in the process. Yeah, like I don't tolerate that kind of stuff at all. It's kind of like if you've ever had like a crazy or like a manipulative or controlling girlfriend that like you kind of let her get her way with like a couple of small things and then suddenly it's like more and more and more. That's what happens whenever you indulge an unreasonable person. Is that this person will never have enough. It's like, are they renamed Enslaved Demon for some reason? Well, they do that because they think, like, as I said, Blizzard's way of dealing with racism is like whenever an all-white family puts on a hip-hop song and then looks and smiles at the one black person in the car. Just kill him, just kill him, just kill him. Guys, turn around. Just kill, please just kill him. Please just kill him. Come on, Asmongold, you really believe that? Yeah, I do. Why would I not believe it? I mean, like, for being racist, ironically, I think that, this is my opinion, I don't like how like the Zuldazar trolls like have the Wakanda forever thing. I think it's patronizing. I mean, like, I'm not the person being patronized, so it's like, I think this is a circumstance where actually, like, I'm not the person who's the target of this, so it's like, I'm just talking about how I would feel if I was in that situation. But it comes off that way to me. Xandor Forever was very on the nose. Yeah. Okay, everybody's here. Let's go. Warcraft trolls have obviously been a Jamaican caricature for decades. Yeah, I mean, I think that, like, I didn't even realize this. I remember I talked about this on my mainstream, and, like, the truth is, like, Scottish, you know, like, dwarves have, like, the same Scottish accent, and they talk about drinking all the time, and, you know, so it's like, you could say it's kind of the same thing, like, to an extent. I don't think it's the same extent as the trolls, but, I think it exists. I don't even think it's really a problem, to be honest with you, but I think it becomes a problem whenever you counterbalance it with a bunch of language about how, like, unracist and how much they care about representation and stuff like that. It's like, it's not a problem unless, like, you make it a problem. Xandor Forever had nothing to do with Wakanda Forever. I think you really have to force a square peg in a round hole to care about that. Well, I don't know. I mean, like, I immediately thought Wakanda Forever. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but, like, that's the first thing I thought of. I was amazed that they had an ability in the other game, Sneed's Greed. That was a shock to me. But, you know, I'm usually the person that can think of the, like, if somebody makes a joke, like, I'm the person who can, if somebody says something, I'm the person who can tie it to 9/11. You know what I mean? I always have a bad sense of humor in that way. I love horrible jokes. Was Wakanda Forever bad? Wakanda isn't real. You might have came in. I think you missed the first part of the conversation then. When it's joined, yeah, it's just I don't know, like, I pretty much talked about that enough, but just, like, in general, I don't like the I think if you let people that are unreasonable decide things, they will just ruin everything. I enjoy edgy jokes, yeah. Like, I don't think enjoying edgy jokes is a bad thing either. Like, I think that it's like, if all of your edgy jokes have to do with, like, a certain minority being, like, shot or being stupid, like, then, I don't know, that's a bit of a self-report to me. Sure. But, just like your average, everyday, edgy joke, I don't really think that's a big deal. Come on. I hate this game. Let's do it again. How can you fix this though? Like if Blizzard put you in charge, what can you do? I don't know. That would, thinking about, like, that's just not, that would not be the priority. It's fine to swap some words to avoid feelings, but stop if something's truly unreasonable gets requested. I don't agree with that. I think that you should never not say certain things just because it hurts somebody's feelings if it doesn't make sense logically. Because everybody's feelings are different. Let me give you an example. So do you think that more people have had a bad experience with the word master or with alcohol? I think probably more people have been negatively affected by alcohol. By being, yeah, alcohol, obviously, right? Do you think that that gives them the authority to remove alcohol from the game and take Brewfest out of the game? Because I think that you have a stronger argument to take Brewfest out of the game than to take the word enslaved demon out of the game. So, like, once you give people authority on something based off of their emotional state, then you have to decide which ones are relevant, which ones aren't. Slavery existed pre-alcohol. I have no idea. There's no research in question. Well, I'm talking about people nowadays. Slavery, everybody alive in the US now, and everybody you're playing on these servers that we're talking to in the English language, 99.9% of these people do not know anyone in their life, and probably do not know anyone that knew anyone in their life that ever actually experienced slavery. Like I'm talking about now. It was 157 years ago. Yeah, it was a long time ago, man. We also take advantage of it, though, because there's still basically slavery in the world. Yeah, sure. But having the word master and slave in the game doesn't enable that. Like, these two things are just unrelated. China's gonna keep enslaving Muslims regardless of WoW. I mean, yeah, like the work camps and stuff like that. Let's try to speed this up a little bit, guys. I gotta go to Chipotle before they close. Come on. They changed Boba Fett's spaceship. Yeah. Well, I mean, Disney's probably doing their best to try to keep the, the public eye off of them. As far as I know, Disney has some pretty bad stuff in their history. Wasn't Walt himself kind of cringe? My understanding is that, like, it's the same thing as people like Dr. Seuss. Like, I looked at some of the cartoons that Dr. Seuss did, the racist cartoons, and they were actually, like, super racist. Like, it wasn't like a, somebody used the N-word with the soft A and they're getting canceled. No, this is, like, super racist. I mean, like, does that mean that you should get rid of his books? No, not really. I mean, like, the thing is, like, people's morality is it's hard to judge somebody in the 1900s or the 1800s on like today's standards. It was still bad then. Well, I don't know. I think it's like at a certain point, and this is the same thing kind of that I said with the McCree situation, is that the art evolves beyond the artist. And like at a certain point, the character McCree is more important in the minds of the audience than the person it was named after. So like it doesn't really matter. Like another person, for example, is Cthulhu guy. What's his name? Fuck, I forgot his name. Lovecraft, yeah, H.P. Lovecraft. Yeah, also a racist. And it's like, but it doesn't really matter whenever he's a racist, because number one, he's dead. Number two, there's nothing that like in his you know, his writing or like whatever that's like explicitly like racist in a certain way, at least as far as I know. And also like these things just don't really fucking matter, right, to people anymore, because the guy's dead. It happened a long time ago, and the art that he did exists independent from him. So that's why I don't really think it's a big deal. Does that make sense? So I think it's kind of the same thing where like the Dr. Seuss thing, where like even if the guy was a terrible person, the art exists and it transcends him as an individual. So like it exists independently of him. It's not worthy. People just 17 and 200s are big hilariously. I think it's ridiculous too, but I also think that it's equally ridiculous to compare somebody like Joe Biden, who said that if you fucking have like you mix schools, it would be a racial jungle. Like I'm not going to compare Joe Biden to Bernie Sanders. Fuck that. Bernie Sanders was the real deal. And Biden's a joke. He's just saying whatever's popular. Mixing schools is racist? Look it up, man. The guy said a bunch of crazy shit. He's been in politics like 50 years, man. You ever had a job in their lives aside from politics? What do you think working as like a welder makes you more in tune with reality? You think working on a car makes you understand the world? How it's just delusional. Where's an OG? Well, like that's the thing is like what do you call it? You were a regular job, you understand what the fuck it's like being in working class America? Yeah, sure. I don't think that you really need to have like, for example, like, do you think that like under that same logic, do you think that Bernie Sanders needed to be black to understand the problems that black people had whenever he was protesting against it? Obviously fucking not. It doesn't take a genius to be able to figure this stuff out. Bernie's the real deal. Absolute bullshit in my life. Well, like here, Johnny, here's a question, right? How many other politicians do we have nowadays that we have actual photo evidence of them, you know, like marching and being in support of civil rights from 40 years ago? That are that old, obviously. What I'm saying is, like, the things that he believes, whether you agree with them or not, are things that he believes, not things that are polling well. So here's that context. What I'm saying, when it comes to representing working class, the guy doesn't have a clue. I want someone who has experience in our shoes, maybe no opinion. Why would you want somebody who has what job? And like, this is the problem, is that anybody with a working class job wouldn't have the skill set that it would take to figure out what the problem with the working class is in the first place. Because if they did, they wouldn't have a working class job. That's just the truth. Just think about it. It's not true. It is. Don't you berate WoW devs for not playing their own game? Yeah, but people thought it was Giga Chad that Johnny Depp didn't watch his own movies. How many other, like... You really gonna try to gotcha me? Please stop. Does it make a difference if they were raised in a working class family during their upbringing? Like, take Donnie, for example, definitely didn't have a clue. Don't you find it to be like, for example, like, somebody can be an advocate for, you know, LGBT people, or women, or like minorities or whatever, without being a part of that group, because you can objectively look at certain things and say, hey, this is bad. So, like, you don't need to be a part of a group in order to understand its dysfunctional nature. Sometimes it can give you insight into it that other people might not have, and I think that is important. But it's not the end all and be all. And what I'm saying is that, like, somebody who works as a mechanic, I would not trust their judgment, even though they're part of the working class. I would absolutely not trust their judgment on how to fix the problems the working class has, because they have no skill set associated with that to make those decisions. They have no education in it. Alright, let's go. See a guy who has Sylvanas faded daggers? No, I haven't seen that. So you think a warrior would? What the heck? I think that, I think somebody that had, like, knowledge of, like, economics and certain other things associated with that would, yeah, for sure. Like, it's not as simple as that. Just because they're a mechanic doesn't mean they're limited knowledge. What? Are we gonna play this weird game where people are gonna pretend like a mechanic has the same general basic knowledge as, like, a lawyer or a politician? Or are we really gonna play this deliberately, like, disingenuous game? They could, though. Yeah, that is true. They could. It's a horrible thought experiment. Yeah, it's just, it's ridiculous. You gotta get in, guys. You gotta get in. See, like, we don't even get this far in the fight, so nobody even knows what to do. You know, contradicting yourself, like Bernie can stand for Black Lives and Mechanic can have the option on how to run things. What I'm saying is that I don't think somebody... I feel like you're contradicting yourself. If, like, Bernie can stand up for Black Lives and a Mechanic can have an opinion on how to run things. Well, yeah, because, like, I think it's very easy to tell, like, for example, like, let's say something like slavery. You know, slavery or like segregation is bad. You don't need to be you know, an economic wizard to figure this out. You're soloing? Okay. I mean, opinion doesn't mean you're knowledgeable. Yeah, exactly. Brought hard a few mechanics. I think that people don't like the idea. There's a lot of people who think that they're smarter than politicians. And they're smarter than, like, all of the elected officials. And they don't like the idea that the elected officials are not just, like, big dumb idiots. Because it hurts their ego. He's in that position as one-time union card carrying construction labor. No, he's out to be there. As a member of working class Americans. I'm not saying that it's not a good thing that somebody is there. Like, I don't really care where somebody comes from. If somebody has good ideas, then that's all there is to it for me. I don't care how long somebody worked as a construction worker. Why the fuck does that matter? Insinuate the best and brightest go into politics? No, but I'm insinuating that the best and brightest also don't go into Twitch chat. And I think that insinuation has people triggered. I think if you took the, you know, 100 or 1,000 1,000 people and you looked at, like, their education, I would assume that probably people in Congress have a better education than people that are working at Jiffy Lube. Yeah, I'll move it. Give me the mount, bitch. Chipotle closes at 10. I think I can do one more run, but I swear to God, if they're out of steak, I'm just gonna leave. Fair enough, so I share, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, like, I get what you're saying too, right? It's like, it's always reassuring to have somebody who you feel is like, you can trust the person, right? I think that's really what it is. Is that people feel like they can trust, you know, a person who's, like, also part of the same class, because they're like, oh, well, that guy's gonna have my best interest in mind because he's one of me. But I don't really take that very seriously. College give you gender studies degrees and Twitter accolades don't necessarily make you smarter. I mean, I don't really know what to tell you about that. If you think that people that go to college, like, so you cannot make the argument that college is, in my opinion, completely... Do you think that there's not a correlation between education and intelligence? Because I think that there clearly is. There absolutely is a correlation. Book learning isn't the same as actual intelligence. Yeah, that's true. But using that argument against what I said probably means that you don't have either. Like, obviously, that's true. More like correlation, wealth, and education. I would assume that people that are... I don't know. If you took, let's say, 100 people or 1,000 people, and you did like a, you know, an IQ test, and you took people that were in households that made $40,000 a year and households that made $400,000 a year, which one do you think would have a higher IQ? Because what you're going to learn is that all of these things are all correlated. Alright guys, we gotta get this done so fast. Like, I have to get my food, so like, come on, like, you guys really fucking, like, queue up and like, be fucking like 280 item level. Like, get the fuck out of here, get the fuck out of here, get the fuck out of here. We need people 280 item level, let's go. Okay, you're a salary of a skilled tradesman with no college degree. I don't think that you're gonna make 400k a year as a skilled tradesman. Oh, alright. Like, you might make like 40 grand in, like, let's say you do HVAC or something like that. You might make 40 grand in July and June. But probably not in the more mild months of the year. Six figures in construction, got 11k back on tax. There you go, dude. Maybe if you owned your own HVAC company. Yeah, I feel like if you're going over like 250k, it's probably because you have guys working under you. Like 250k as a principal engineer. Yeah, but like that's like I guess like people say like trade, like I mean that's, I think it implies that it's like not a college degree, but like I think yeah, engineer of course you're gonna make a lot of money. I don't know how much make over 165k on a firefighter. Holy fuck. Good. I wish they paid police more. Maybe we'd get better ones. I think it's a huge problem. Very good, yeah. That's insane. Same with teachers, yeah. Texas cops are the highest paid. The way I look at it is like if you pay a lot of money, you can get better applicants, just in general. We need a tank. Someone wants a Q tank. And you're not watching videos in your own time, Google geriatric oligarchy. I disagree on the premise of that. If that is what I assume that it is. I don't like the idea that old people are bad and they don't know what they're talking about and young people know what they're talking about. I think that's stupid. I think that's something that young people say because they're mad that old people are in charge and they're not. Good cops get promoted to desk jobs in higher groups. Honestly, man, that's a really good point. It's like the reverse Peter principle. That's actually a really good point. Because I know a lot of, yeah. There's a clear decline in cognition after 80, that's just a fact. Yeah, you can say that. I think that if you want to start, if you want to start making rules like that, like you have to understand that. I think that you should look at individual people. Like it's very obviously different. Like again, like Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden. I think Bernie Sanders is older than Biden, but it seems like Bernie has it together a lot more than Biden does. I mean, I don't really know. I'm not a doctor, but that's what it seems like to me. So, I don't think it's as simple as you should just look at somebody's age and then just assume that they're stupid because they're old. I gotta make it political? Well, it's not political. I mean, it's not to me. It's just like you listen to those two guys talk, and like a lot of old people, like, I mean, you could say like Warren Buffett, that's another good example. William Shatner. You know, Betty White. Look at her. I mean, think about Betty White was 90 years old 10 years ago. Charlie Munger? Yeah, he's still popping off. Did he die, bro? Yeah, she did. But she died whenever she was 99. So that means 10 years ago, she would have been 90. That's the way the math worked. I thought of that in my head before I said it. Worry about elderly people who are out of touch with current internet-based culture and tech? Well, have you ever thought that maybe the internet is out of touch with reality? And maybe what people think is popular on the internet isn't really popular? I think, again, this might upset people. You can use another example. Bernie Sanders was the most popular thing on the internet. But whenever it came to the polls, people were like, oh, Biden. Oh. Yeah, I remember Obama. Hell yeah. Well, we'll just get him again. And that was it. People weren't counting on that. People aren't counting on that, you know, that fucking 56-year-old guy. He goes there with his church group, votes, fucking goes straight to the front of the line. Just fucking puts that vote in for Biden. Gets back home, he's watching TV. He doesn't even, the next day, he doesn't even think about that shit ever again. Yeah, somebody just phoned it in, like, yeah, I guess. Just vote whoever thinks is gonna win. There it is. Such a hard time believing there's people quite honestly give a fuck about my well-being. Might be a stupid thought. I think that they care about your well-being, but they care about their own well-being more. Which is like, it's a problem. Democrats aren't liberals. Bro, people voted for Biden. Like, there were a lot of people that voted for him. I know this might upset you, but this happened. Like, I remember I was there. People voted for him, and everybody was upset. Not just the president, I mean, like, even before then. In the primary, right? Everybody voted for him. And people were pissed off. They're like, why are people voting for this fucking clown? But that's what happened. Trump basically announced Trump 2024 tonight. Thank God. Thank God. That's a good amount of content. Yeah, it's gonna be great. Empire Strikes Back. I don't know. Like, I'm not sure if he'll win again. There's a big part of me that thinks probably not. But I mean, I'm not really sure. Because the thing is, like, I don't think I'd vote for him again. Like, I voted for Trump the first time. I didn't vote for him the second time. Because it just, I felt like he didn't do what I wanted him to do. And I wasn't happy with it. And so, fuck it. Like, I'm not, and so, like, the logic would be I would be voting for him again the third time in 2024 under the assumption that he's gonna do what he said he would do. But why would I think that? Because he already was president before and he didn't do it. Why would he do it this time? You see what I'm saying? Chose Biden over Trump. No, I didn't even vote for the president. I said fuck that. I didn't want to. They were both clowns. What do you want them to do? I want them to regulate social media to get some of that stuff under control, get rid of lobbying, stuff like that. Stuff that only somebody who's not beholden to like large corporations could do. And it turns out that he was, and he just fucked around. Sanders, what I'm sure? Sanders got finessed out of the primary. I mean, I would vote for Bernie, but I wouldn't, it would be like a vote of hope, not a vote of confidence. It was a weird election with COVID. Yeah, if COVID didn't happen, Trump would still be president. That's what I think. I gotta get some food. If I swear to God, bro, if this steak, if I stayed late to fucking not get my steak, I'm gonna be so fucking mad. I'll see y'all later. Alright, boys, peace. Zip.